everybody. So this is the first video of my grieving series. I've been talking about this since last year, and so I thought that since it's a new month, we would start the series on a new month kind of situation. So the series is going to be basically about the beginning to where I'm at right now in my grieving process. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. This will be a separate series on my channel. So I feel like if I share my story, it might help somebody out there dealing with it as well, and maybe it could help them get through their new normal. So I'm going to start at the beginning, and then throughout the series we will get to where I'm at right now. So if you've never seen me before, hi, my name is Shelby Hernandez. I'm from Kansas. I have done YouTube for literally 10 years now, and unfortunately 3 years ago this year I lost my husband of 12 years, which we'll get into. But this was never something that I ever thought that I would be talking about, and living on my own like I am now, I never thought that that was going to be me. I always thought I was going to be married to the love of my life. We had so many plans, and that's just not what happened. So I'll start at the beginning. I was 31 when he died. He had I had moved back to Kansas because of COVID and some other reasons, and so I had moved March, and he came to see me in April, so I wasn't even in Kansas for a month when I moved home. He came to visit me. He was here for a month, and then the last weekend, or the last week of April in that year, he went back to California to go see family. Then he had a court thing he had to take care of in San Francisco, so he had to go back. That was the last time I'd seen him alive. And disclaimer, this video is going to get pretty heavy, pretty raw. So just a trigger warning, if that's something you can't handle, I wouldn't watch this video. So he had gone back in April, last week of April. He was there in May, and then he was coming back the last day of May. So it'd have been the first day of June. He would have been in Kansas. It's a 28-hour drive if you've never been here. It's a very far drive. We literally are in the middle of the United States, and I live in the southwest corner of the state. So he was coming to bring me a vehicle that he had bought for me. And as far as I know, from the police report and everything, he was drinking and driving, unfortunately. He was headed south, got turned onto the northbound highway, and went into the median. Somebody had called in his erratic driving, as they should, and he fell asleep at the wheel. Like, the car wasn't moving, but he fell asleep. The car was just sitting there. He had his foot on the brake. And from what the police told me, they had knocked on the window to get him to turn the car off so they could assist the situation. And from what all of them on scene said, he just looked up, stared at them, and he just full force hit the gas, went over the median, and a Ram truck hit him because he was coming this way in oncoming traffic, and he got hit. It was his fault. It wasn't the driver's fault. It was two innocent people. But as he's going out the median, the car came this way, and it hit the gas tank, and the car exploded. Due to them being already on the scene, they were able to act fast. The car just was engulfed in flames. They were able to get him out, but he had already died. I didn't know that at the time, but he had already hit the steering wheel, which caused his death. So the minute he hit the steering wheel, he was gone. So when the car went into flames, he was no longer alive. So he didn't feel any of that, which I'm grateful for. So they said that when they opened up the car door, a lot of bottles and cans of alcohol fell out of the car, which is how they knew he was driving intoxicated. And so once they got him out, he was pronounced dead on scene. He was the only fatality. The other two had minor injuries. They were seen at a hospital and then later released. I didn't get any of the information until hours, like almost a day later, because of the time difference. Where I lived is 2 hours ahead of Modesto, which is where he died. And so the time difference played a big part in me learning information about how my husband died. So I had just talked to him that night. It would have been 8 o'clock at night over there. And he's like, I'm going to drive over there to bring you the vehicle. We had planned on July, so he could be out here for July 4th. He didn't want to wait, and I'm still not really sure why. The last part of the conversation that I do remember is that he didn't want to have to continually move cars because of street parking and getting tickets and stuff, which I understand. It's a pain. Because where we lived, there was no driveway for us to just park, so we had to do on-street parking. You know, that's just California life. And so I was like, no, I need you to wait at least a day so you can sleep, get a good sleep, shower, eat, and then head out because it's such a long drive. And he kept saying to me, no, like I want to come bring you the car tonight. Like, I'm good. I'll see you in 28 hours. I said, no, I don't want you to go yet. And I said, if you're gonna drive tonight, stop in Albuquerque, then head out the next morning because that's halfway. And he was arguing with me, but on the phone, I never said anything, and I should have now, but I didn't. But on the phone, he was acting really weird, and I knew something wasn't right. That's why I kept saying, don't drive tonight. It's far. I would rather you wait till the morning, and it's just a better environment for you. And he's like, no, 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 no. I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. Well, I knew that wasn't true, but he's grown. Like, I am not there. I can't stop him. So I was expecting to get a phone call when he got to Albuquerque. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. And I'm sorry for my voice. I should have addressed this. I have been sick for a while and I don't know what's going on, so I'm sorry about my voice. So anyways, I never got a call from him until it was like 3:30 in the morning, my time, Central. When I got a phone call, it was a Modesto area code, and I don't know anybody in Modesto, so they called and called and called and called. I didn't hear my phone go off, and finally I heard it go off, and I answered it because it's really weird to get phone calls that late at night. I'm like, hello, and they go, do you know who such and so is? I said, yes, he's my husband. Why? And they go, ma'am, unfortunately, he's been in a car accident, and he didn't make it. What? I said, are you sure? They go, yes, ma'am, you were the last person he talked to. Who are you? I said, I'm his wife. And I said, he was driving this kind of vehicle. Are you sure? They go, yes, ma'am. We found his wallet, and we have identified that this is who it is. And y'all, when I tell you, my heart stopped, and I dropped to the floor, and my phone fell out of my hand, like, what? Like, what did I just hear? And I just lost it. I completely lost it. And I was like, wait, like, are you sure? He's like, yes, ma'am, we'll have more information for you later in the day. It'll be later tomorrow evening before we have anything to tell you. But he did not make it. He's headed to Modesto. He's in Modesto. And I ran up. A lot of this is a blur because it happened so quickly, but I ran upstairs, told my parents, I was like, hey, I just got a phone call, Marvin died. Marvin was in a car accident and he died. My family was so shocked. I was super shocked, like, what just happened? And I am just overwhelmed with emotion. I don't know how to process this because I'm like, oh my God, my husband's gone. Like, is this a dream? Like, did this really just happen? And the only way that it would have been confirmed for me was to see him physically not alive. Unfortunately, that's just how I am. And I was like, no, this can't be true. They're gonna call me back, everything's gonna be fine. They revived him, he's fine. I was in such denial. And we called all my family over and I told them, I said, hey, they called him like, hey, Marvin was just in a car accident, he didn't make it. And I remember these conversations, but I was so out of it. Like, I'm just like sitting there staring into space because my life just completely changed. One day I had my husband, the next time a widow. Like, how do you process that? You know what I mean? So then I remember just sitting and crying and staring into space going, oh my God. That's literally what I did. I'm just sitting here going, what do I do? So it took 3 weeks for us to get him out here because he is laid to rest in Johnson. It took me about 3 weeks because of all the paperwork in California for them to release the body to be able to fly him here. I went to the funeral home. That will be a whole separate video. That was the hardest thing I had to do. So he died June 1st. We laid him to rest June 21st. But in that moment, we had so many plans. We were going to move to LA. We were going to rent an apartment. Like, we were going to do the whole nine because that's where I'm happiest, is in California. And he didn't even make it out of Modesto. If you're from the Bay Area, you know exactly where that's at. He didn't even make it out of Modesto. And unfortunately, this is on YouTube. His car crash is on YouTube. It was hard to find out that somebody was recording it because it's different when you don't know the person in the vehicle, but it's harder when you know who it is. And that was my husband. Like, he made such poor choices. It ultimately cost him his life. And I'm seeing him alive in the video, and the next thing I know, he's gone. I saw the moment he died, and that's haunted me. I never wanted to see the video, but curiosity got me, and I watched it, and it set me back quite a bit. So in the process of me trying to plan for a funeral, because Honduras funerals are way different than American funerals, and so I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do things and all that. I didn't want to work. It was really bad. But anyways, I shut everybody out. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was down in my room all the time. I isolated myself really badly because of it. Like, I didn't want to be bothered. I could not continue. Like, I didn't want to be called a widow. That word really bothered me at the time. And I wasn't eating. My jaw had so much tension in my jaw. I could not talk. I could not eat. I had to go to the doctor to get some type of relief. I went to the doctor for grief. That's what I went to there for, and they gave me some stuff to take the edge off. But the hardest part was when we had to go get his burial clothes. And planning this funeral was just the hardest thing I've had to do in a long time. And so we had gone to Garden to go get his clothes. I picked out a really nice white shirt for him, a beautiful tie, black pants. I didn't put shoes on him because, like, why? They're not going to see his feet. And so I you know, life doesn't prepare you for this. I remember just sitting in my room going, he was supposed to be my forever. He was the one that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And I was the one he wanted to spend his life with, and ultimately he got to. You know, and I'm sitting here going, wow, he did fulfill his vow. Like, my mind went so dark, guys, like, so quickly. And I'm like, how am I going to get over this? Like, how am I going to deal with it? How am I going to live life anymore? Like, he's the only person I ever wanted to spend my life with. Who's going to want somebody in my position this damaged? And there was so much going on. And I don't know why I thought of that in that moment, because my husband hadn't even been gone that long when these thoughts were going through my head. I had severe spousal guilt. So the funeral day comes, we get everything planned. The local church really helped me out with hosting his family, hosting the dinner and all of that. They did a fantastic job on that. And then, so for the funeral arrangements, we did have a viewing, which I didn't know if we were going to be able to due to the nature of his accident, but they were able to have a viewing. The viewing was extremely hard for me. I don't deal with death well anyway, but him being there, that being my husband, it was just very traumatic. So during the funeral planning process, um, seeing my whole marriage and my whole adult life on a piece of paper was so hard for me to read. I still to this day can't read that without crying. 3 years later, like I still can't read it. It's that traumatic for me. But seeing that I survived him when he always thought that he would be surviving me just as the protector, it really took it out of me. And I still have the program that I had printed for his funeral. And I told him, I said I want a bilingual service. And so that's what we did. I did have it live on Facebook. I took out all of his favorite songs that he played every day. These songs, if you went to the funeral, the songs that I had played at his service, he played those every single day. So those aren't just some random songs that I picked. Those were songs that he lived for those songs because those songs were really powerful to him. So I did 3 in English and 3 in Spanish. I had a place setting set for him next to me in his honor with the Honduran flag, and his favorite color was blue. So I had blue and white dishes for him, and we had a place setting done. I got it all at Hobby Lobby. I don't remember the food or anything. I don't remember any of that, but I wore blue to his funeral because it was his favorite color to honor him. I wore I gave it to my sister, but I wore a black and red rose dress. It was his favorite dress I ever bought. I got it from Target. He loved the dress on me. He said it was his favorite dress he's ever seen me in. So I wore that to the viewing, and then I wore the blue one to his funeral. And so the viewing was extremely hard for me because I picked out his casket, obviously, but like my mind and my mind and my heart were not connected because like I knew he was gone intellectually, but in my heart of hearts I was praying so hard that this wasn't reality for me. Obviously that's not how this works, but you know, when you're grieving, nothing makes sense to you. So then viewing day comes, and I felt so sick to my stomach. All of his family that could come was there. My friends were there. My family was there. My mom and my sister led me to the front of the viewing place because the spouse gets to view first. Y'all, when I tell you I dropped to my knees and I was shaking and I just didn't know what I was doing and all of that, I dropped to my knees because like that's my husband, you know what I mean? Like, he's there. That's him. And so the casket's open and I go over there to see him. And I am just devastated. The man I spent my life with is here. And I'm sorry for my voice. He's just laying there so lifeless. And he had been in Modesto for 3 weeks, and you could definitely tell that he was in a refrigerator. Sorry. That he was in the refrigerator. But what bothered me is he broke his jaw. You could see the stitches. I saw scars, and he looked jaundiced. And they couldn't put his hands like this because they were frozen enough they would have had to have broken the arms, and no, we don't do that. So I had a Bible with him. He was holding the Bible that I got for him. And it hit me so hard reality hit me like a ton of bricks. That was him. His beard saved his face. He had very coarse facial hair, and it saved his face. And I just remember looking in and going, oh my God, that's him. My mom, I think my mom took it harder than I did. And I just remember looking at her going, that's him. The love of my life is right here in front of me. And I can't hear his voice. I can't. Like, I'm sorry, guys. But these are the thoughts going through my head. Like, I can't say, hi, babe. I can't say I love you and hear it back. So, I had to leave because it was just too much. And then my family went in, and then I went in with my husband's family. And I kept asking, why? Like, why? Like, why did you do it? Like, I was so angry. I was so angry because his death was preventable. That's what kills me still to this day. He still could be here today if he just would have dealt with whatever he was dealing with. And so, like, his death really bothers me still to this day, 3 years later. But we get through the viewing, and I had to go outside. Like, I just couldn't take it. I couldn't deal with seeing him there anymore. So before the viewing was over, they asked me if I wanted to say a final goodbye, and I was like, yes. I didn't want to, but I had to. I had to. So I go back up to the front, and I was stroking his hair, and I spoke to him in Spanish. Sorry, I got a phone call. I spoke to him in Spanish, and I was like, I will always love you. You were a great provider. You know, like, I am who I am because of you. And I was thanking him for the time we had together and telling him to rest in peace and to be happy that he's with God and this is what he wanted. And, you know, I still love him. He's still my husband to this day. And so then the funeral came. I have never cried so hard in my whole entire life. I don't really want to go over the funeral. It was really hard for me. A lot of stuff happened. But the burial service, all of this is bilingual. And my older sister bought roses to put on top of his casket, so that's what we did. I said my final goodbye. We went back to the church building to have dinner. And it was a very somber, very hard day. June 21st is not an easy day for me. It never will be. He is buried in Johnson. I have a plot next to him. Do I believe he's in heaven? Yes, I do. He was a very, very God-loved, God-feared man. Despite all of our problems, Christ was number one in our marriage. We're both stubborn people, but we loved Christ dearly. I still do. I still remember all of the things he used to tell me and all of that. Like, I still read his favorite verses and listen to his favorite songs and all of that. Christ is who brought us together. I still believe that 14 years later, we met in 2010. So this year would have been 14 years in August we were together. 12 years married, 14 years together. But I don't blame God for this. I never have. I'm angry at Marvin, but I'm not angry at God. He knew way more about what was going on than I did, and this was just the way that he decided to take Marvin. Am I sad? All day, every day. Okay, the first 2 years, yes, it was really hard for me. Now, I do get sad, but I'm not crying near as hard. I tell him good morning and good night every day, but there's a peace in me now that I didn't have when this first happened because I know where he's at. I'm going to see him again. So, yes, it's sad, but I know where he's at. Like, this isn't the last time I'm going to see him. So, I'm going to leave it there for now. And then the next video will be what happened after the funeral. The first year, we're going to go over the first full year of me dealing with him being gone. Thank you for coming to view this video. I hope this series will help somebody that either has gone through this or just is now going through it. It's just so fresh. I feel your pain. I'm with you, and don't feel like you're alone because you're not. I was 31 when my husband died. So I'm 33 now. And no, I had just turned 31 because I was 30 when he died, and I had turned 31 that year. He died in 21. I had just turned 31. So, yeah. So, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to get through this together. You are not alone. And let's keep the conversation going. So, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye, guys.